Are Wednesday, March 15th, 2023 at 9:53 a.m. I was going to do this video yesterday, but I was on my way home, and then when I went home, I got caught up, and I went to bed pretty late, and I set the alarm for 4 anyways, but I stayed in bed till about 6, I think. Yesterday was my last day of internship as an orderly. I have to finish some online stuff. I'm going to do one section before I finish getting ready to go to the gym. Even though I'm tired, I'm going to do something. I have a couple people who want massage therapy, so I have to kind of book that in. But I control the booking, like if I want to do it or not. Because I'm not here to take my off time and book it with a whole bunch of stuff. So I was very sad yesterday because, first of all, the floor that I'm on was on for the last few days of my internship. Got an outbreak of COVID, right? So everyone on the floor had to be in isolation. So there's about 26 residents on the floor. I believe about 26. And some people were like, when there's a suspicion of COVID, they have to produce 1 or 2 symptoms. There's a sign that gets put on their door with a C and a question mark. When they're tested negative, it becomes a green C with a minus sign. When it becomes COVID positive, it's a red C with a plus. I actually got tested yesterday. I didn't really get tested. It was weird. I was told I had to go down to get tested. I had to give my medical insurance card or Medicare card, and they put me into the computer. I found out there was already a record of me from when I was like 13 or something because of the address where I grew up. But I'm not in the system because I'm not an employee. Anyways, they put me in the system on my last day of working there, of my internship. I don't know what's going to happen after that, if I'm still going to be around or whatever. I'm still doing the online work. But anyways, so then they said it was at 1 o'clock in the basement to get your COVID test. It's with gargling and not with sticking things up your nose or whatever, scraping your throat and your nose, which I never had. But then when I went there was a guy there, but he couldn't help me. It's kind of like just do it yourself type thing. And I'm like, do what myself? I don't understand this, you know? I guess that's what happened with shortage of staff. I don't know. So then I just went to eat. And then I decided to come back on my way up to go back to working. And then there was someone there, and they said, oh, you have to do it yourself and just follow the instructions. And I did the best I can, but it wasn't that obvious. put a little bit, 5 milliliters of water, gargle it, then put your expectorant into the tube, put one label that you got on the tube, put it in the box, and then put another one on the plastic bag that has the radioactive sign on, and that's about it. And then I was doing that. I'm trying to put my spit into the tube, and then the lady was like, did you take off the, I'm like, oh, okay. Because it didn't look like it was a closed tube. It was like some of the obvious things were not obvious to me, as is all the time with this job. And anyway, so I did that, and then another woman came in and said, because I had an N95 mask on, which I had gotten fitted, but I have a beard, so it doesn't even work. And but the weird thing about this COVID is that, like, you have to, everyone's in isolation, but for each room you go into, which originally it was just easy, you just go into the room, whatever. Now you have to take the time to put on a jacket, N95 mask, gloves, cover the sleeves with the gloves, go in, not including washing your hands all the time. Hello, hello. And I, because I'm not used to this, sometimes during the time I was in there helping a person, whether I was being watched or not, sometimes not, I would take off my gloves just automatically because I knew I would change them and all that. But then I'm like, oh no, I took off my gloves and I'm in a COVID isolation. And I'm like, oh, you're not supposed to do that. And so I put one back on. And so I did a lot of mistakes, right? And also because of acne cream, sunscreen, a couple of days ago, the first time, and while the surveying teacher was there, the one who's just an idiot, my eyes were burning, and so I'd have to constantly take paper towels that all the patients have in their room, and I'd have to keep wiping my face down my eyes so I wouldn't be stinging. My eyes wouldn't be stinging because it happened. I was with that teacher, and then I couldn't see anything. So now I'm like, I have to keep constantly touching my face, constantly taking paper towels, and so I'm making sure to not. I'm doing that so I'm not touching my face with the gloves, which is the same thing as touching your face with your hands if you have microbes all over it that you've been touching everything. So, but I could possibly still be infecting myself, because I'm not used to doing this automatically. I'm so not used to this. So anyway, so I don't know if I have COVID. It's my last day, so I can't go back and get I don't know what they're doing. They said vaccinating or whatever. I have no idea. I just went with whatever they said because that's basically how I roll there. I don't, everyone says everything, people say things contradictory to another thing all the time. So I don't take that too seriously. I just assume everyone's an idiot and everyone is pretty high in the ego department. Everyone wants to be a boss babe. Well, I would just say it's another type of bee babe. Um, like I said, it's an industry. Everyone is effed up. It's apparent to me. Um, but the thing I'm sad about is the patients, especially the ones that were like one who's COVID, and I went to help her. She's 102 years old, and I couldn't go into. As I was about to leave, I said I could only talk to her through the door. The doors were open, so I was like, okay, how is this COVID protection working if everything is, all the doors are open, you know? But anyways, so I said, this is my last day, and then she was like saying things, sweet things. Probably didn't mean anything, but she probably didn't remember who I was, but still. I said to a few people, there's this one lady, she's younger, she can't talk, and she's on the wheelchair all the time, and sometimes they get her to walk and stuff, but she's very dependent. That's why she's there. She needs a lot of help. But I didn't get to work with her a lot because it was with another orderly's group of people. But I think I worked with her twice. I got to feed her yesterday, and she was alone in the living room or the living area, and everyone else was in their room because everyone's being quarantined, um, or isolated, and I didn't get to see her enough to understand how she communicates, because she's not verbal. She had a mitten on her hand, I guess, because this was new, probably to not cause damage to herself or to anyone. I don't know. Um, and when I was feeding her, it was kind of hard to tell if she was didn't want any more food. It like she would go, and then she'd take deep breaths. And then she'd be like, ready for me to feed her. So it's like, do you want it or you don't want it? And sometimes she'd push me, sometimes she'd lean away. So I didn't have enough time to understand her communication, right? But what I did know is, I don't know, I just went up to her because she was there and I said, I didn't get enough time to build a relationship with you, but this is my last day. And I saw her lips go like this. I'm like, oh my God, I never saw that before. She obviously understood that and she was getting sad. It was just, what's tough about this industry is that I'm slow at it. Yeah, it's funny because we're with another patient and I was with another patient, but then someone comes in and she's like, "Oh, you're too slow." When there's people talking about you, and then the teacher's gonna see, and then someone's doing it fast to you, and all that, because a lot of people are just based on the speed, and that's the problem. They don't care about the people; they just care about doing everything in a certain amount of time. And what am I gonna do? I'm gonna speed up and then be even worse than I am. Um, or I'm gonna be slow like I am and just build relationship with the people. Either or, no one's gonna appreciate what I'm doing anyways, because it's not it's not an industry where people are appreciating the actual work of people or actually appreciating the patients, you know. They're afraid that they're gonna get fired, they're afraid of all this, and I'm like, look, no one fired me yet, got rid of me, but they all said I suck and they all said all the things I don't do well. Well, why are you still keeping me here? You obviously need people and you obviously need men. And you need men who can build relationships with, there's something about me that you actually like, or you're afraid of losing your job. Um, it's something that's weird. So it's like, okay, because I've been fired for so many jobs, that's why I've always done stuff on my own. But you would have gotten rid of me. Stop threatening me. Stop being like my father used to be, just like empty threats. It's like I have no respect for you. I'm just playing whatever, but you could tell me how crappy I am anyways, but you're projecting, you know. But it's a very hard. It's hard to deal with that all the time without going crazy. I told you about the other guy, the video where he almost got killed in a car accident. You know, he just he displays it in a way that I used to do that. You know, if he didn't get fired, then I'm not gonna get fired. But even if I do, big whoop. I've already learned what I wanted to learn from it, and that's it. There's things that I won't forget, for sure. But it's tough seeing people there. There's one person who actually spoke English. Everyone, it's all in French, right? But there's one person who's English, and I told her it was my last day. You know, it's kind of tough. That's the good thing about the industry, that you know you get to, some people appreciate you, the patience. You know. Oh yeah, this is what I was saying, because it was kind of chaotic yesterday. Who was I working under? What was going on? No one, everyone was coming in late, and you know, it's just no one does anything. They pretend to do, and then when you're not doing something right, they'll call you on it. But it's like then they're not setting a good example, and everyone contradicts each other. And it's like, okay, am I dealing with gay guys, like flamboyant gay guys who are just like flighty? Probably. Everyone's, you know, but um so um the one group of people working together, they started having me do things. I'm like, okay, I'll do everything for you, whatever, because I need to learn. So then she's the one who comes in and says, "Oh, it's too slow." You know, everyone, you know, um, you can't just like try to build a relationship with them. You have to get going with the work. You have to do it fast and whatever. But as she's doing this, so she starts putting on the pants of the woman I'm trying to do um, to wash in her bed. Like when you wash it in the bed, it's usually you're just doing the face, you're doing the genital area, you're changing their clothes while on the bed, you have to turn them over. Yeah. But doing all this while she's not completely in her mind, you know, but there's parts of her that are, and if you're being too rough, she's gonna start screaming. Like you can't just like throw her around like a rag doll, right? And if she doesn't want something, you know, you don't force it on her. Like there's videos that they show, like, you know, when orderlies are getting frustrated with the patients, that they start hitting them and all that. You know, you can't do that. First of all, it's illegal. You know, there's the right of the person, no matter what, unless they're completely out of their mind, and then there's someone acting in on their behalf. So I'm still in the process of learning that. Like I don't want to like abuse someone, because I don't want that happen to me in the future or anything. And I've had it happen to me as a kid, or even whatever, you know. So I'm very sensitive to that. So if someone doesn't want anything, then okay. But I have seen, and this just yesterday. So I'm washing her, and she's being cooperative. It's good. And then the other lady comes in, and she starts putting on her pants while I'm doing that. And the lady's saying, "No, don't do that. Ow, don't do that. Ow, ow." And then she starts screaming. And I'm like, okay. So then I said, can I still wash you here? And she kind of like said yes or whatever. It's like, it's that's what you're dealing with. Like some people are under the pressure that they have to get a lot done, and then it goes at the person who suffers is the patient. You know, um, my one of my official coaches, she was pretty good with the relationship, and she was good at that respect, saying that that's my good point, that I'm setting relationships. I'm not just going into the job, not going into the task. Like if I have to change their diapers, I'm not just going in and starting with that. I'm chatting them up, feeling how they're doing, and listening to them, conversing. Um, And I do believe that the more I do that, the more I build relationships with them, and I get to do it faster, you know? As opposed to just starting to do something, they say, don't do that, and then you force it. But you have to deal with the other employees who are some are doing that. One, the one that I mentioned a few videos ago who was working for like 32 years. She was the only one left on the floor when I was leaving. It was my last 15 minutes, and I said, well, I got my break, and then I'm off. And then I was, saying, oh, it's my last day. We'll see what happens. And then she was going through the motions, but I told you it worked well the one day I was working with her. Yesterday, she was like, well, you have to get the permission from the person in charge because to work with me. And by that time, I already heard her bitch around. So I'm like, okay, she's very frustrated. Like, it comes out that they're real personalities. It's sad, you know. The one person that kind of ended well was one person, she's auxiliary nurse. I don't know how you say that in English. It's not a registered nurse. It's like between an orderly um, and a nurse at the bachelor level, you know. They have to do some orderly stuff, but they also do the medications. So yeah, not that much more of a pay raise. So it's probably why I'm not going to do that. Go right to nursing if I decide to do it. Um, she always seemed very angry. I would see her on the bus, but she wouldn't say hi, and she wouldn't say hi for the longest time. Eventually, she opened up to me and said, "How long are you here on your internship and all that?" And then I finally learned what her name was. And then 2 days ago, there's group meetings, and then she got a little angry, afraid of like saying like people are just talking behind everyone's backs and all, like the whole shittiness of this little industry. Um, and then she started opening up more to me, and then I said bye. It's my last day, so it took her a while to open up. At least now I know where her anger is from. And everyone seems to be very angry in this industry. It's an industry where you don't need to go through med school to do this, you know what I mean? And a lot of people have children and they're doing it because they need a job and whatever, whatever, whatever. But it's about, it is about the patients, and it has to be about the patients. I don't think I'm going to change because talking now, I do realize the way I see it is the right way. If you don't like it, then fuck you very much. Get rid of me and keep your industry as crappy as it is. Um, Um, there was one. This, when you're dealing with elderly people, a lot of them they revert back to like children. There's this one extremely childish. Well, there's a few extremely childish, but this one here, um, I think I mentioned it briefly in one of the videos where her boyfriend, she has a boyfriend or a husband who's a homeless person, and she's extremely rebellious. She's crying and she won't stay in quarantine. She'll keep coming out, but with her wheelchair, we I keep having to roll her back in. And then when she's angry, she'll start sulking, and I'm like, wait a minute, I'm not even into women. What do I care? I don't know how I don't think anyone knows how to deal with her. I have to learn how to say the right things. At one time, like I kept saying, okay, I'll get right back to you. Give me a minute, because and as opposed to saying, look, I can't deal with you right now. I have other work to do. I don't think she would register with that, like being that straight up with her, you know. But then it gets to a point, like no matter what I say, she says, "Oh, I'm tired of your bullshit or whatever. You just put me off and all that." I'm like, this is like a real petulant child, right? But she's like elderly. She's not as elderly as others. I would say maybe if she's in her 60s, maybe she might even be younger. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what her um, story is. But I I feel bad that I don't know what to say to her. But I don't feel very good if I just do what other people do. They just ignore her and they just take her, put her back into her room. They don't even say anything. I don't feel right doing that. I don't think that's the right thing to do, but I don't know what the right thing to do is. Um, there was a discussion that on the online school, one person at her internship, there was someone who needed to be brought to the bathroom, but she has no mobility at all. And this person, the student, was very busy anyway, so she said, I don't have time right now, but just go in your diapers and then I'll help you after. Because that's what usually happens, anyways. And apparently, that wasn't the right thing to say. It was um, I don't know if they said abusive or whatever, but so it's like, but then the teacher, no one knew what the real thing to say. So it's that stuff that I need to learn what is the right thing to say to each person to not denigrate them. And the funny thing is, I'm not learning from a lot of people because everyone's already jaded and everything, and everyone gets angry, and I don't even think they know. So that sucks. My coach is not that bad, but I can see where she gets frustrated, and she's okay at things to say, but yeah. Oh yeah, then there's another person, the one who has a severe curved back and her back cracks when she tries to walk and she can't make her feet move to walk. It's really hard. And she's very picky about everything being in the right place. And I started with her yesterday. and someone was like, "Oh, it's too long. You can't stay in that long with her." And what am I supposed to do? She's got her mind. She's telling me I need to do these things. So what? When am I gonna say no? you know. Um, but afterwards, I couldn't go back into her room because she's got the COVID, and I have to keep getting changed, and she just wants a little milk for her coffee, and I have to take 15 minutes to put on a coat. I can't. It's I can't do that. Um, I have to wait till someone else. Wait till something else needs to be done. Like her, she needs to her diaper being changed again, so then it could, or when food is being served, so you have to pair up tasks, not just do all that just to give her a sugar, or a milk. That makes sense, but how to tell her that? And she's very. I'm seeing now she's very. She was very angry yesterday, even though she's like she's close to 100, I believe. She's very. I don't know her age, but it would be up there. I could see how angry she was getting. I had COVID a few times. Why do I have to be in my room and all that? And I'm like, I don't know what to say, you know? And this is the one that my coach was saying to the rest of the people that she's in denial about having to walk. Like her walking is degraded, And I'm like thinking, why shouldn't she be in denial? Because if she comes to realization that she can barely walk, she's gonna die if she has nothing to live up to, live for. So I guess the more I'm getting in relationships with some people with certain types of characters, personalities, how do you deal with that? Especially if the personalities is not like Alzheimer based, when they get into different moods. Like there was one person who I helped yesterday. She's bipolar, apparently. But I thought bipolar, when you're in the angry phase, it's not just shifting moods throughout the day. I thought it was for days. Each mood is for a few days. Like borderline, your moods shift all the time, or mine shifts all the time. Depending on what happens, or how what triggers me. Um, you know. But with her, the day before, she was in a really bad mood, and she was really bitchy towards my coach. I'll say coach. So it was supposed to be her bath time, but she wouldn't even cooperate for that. So eventually, my coach negotiated to do a bath in the bed. So that's the first time I got to see that. You put all the mattress protectors around, and you're washing her hair with they call it a guitar. It's like a funnel, like uh, a reservoir. Your head is there. You're putting pitchers of water over her head, and then it catches in that guitar shaped funnel, and then it drips down to a bucket. Hopefully, you have a big bucket on the floor, catching all the water. And then you're pouring water on her, and all the mattress protectors are protecting her mattress, and you're washing her. Then which was pretty cool. She didn't like it as much. She said during it, she's like, "Oh, probably would been better get a shower." Well, too late. But then yesterday, when I had to go deal with her myself, I was like, "Okay." Someone mentioned that can I deal with her? That was the first person I was dealing with. I have dealt with her alone before, and the first time well, it's, I think twice. That was the second time alone. The first time, I was nervous because usually my coach I never seen the person mad at my coach. But then with me, she's like, "Oh, you're annoying me. What's going on?" I'm like, "Oh, sorry. I'm alone. Maybe that's why I don't have someone helping me." But yesterday wasn't bad. Like I went in and I knocked. I said, Mrs. So and so. Um, and then I just kind of felt out the situation, and I wasn't sure if she was still in an angry mood or if she was happy. But she said something like, "Somebody changed the TV. It's just not working anymore. What the hell's wrong with it?" I'm like, "Oh boy." And then I said, "Well, when I was here yesterday with you, they were talking about Alzheimer's the whole time, and didn't like that, so I shut it off in front of you. So give me the remote. I'll turn it back on." And then it turned back on, and she's like, "Oh," and then she started smiling and all that. So I saw that, okay, she's in a good mood. So then I was able to proceed from there. And she was very cooperative after that. Even to the point where when I was alone with her, I make mistakes, but like I'm able to work through them. The patients are cooperative, I'm cooperative. Like I'm showing her pants that she needs to wear. And it's like, oh, I'm not sure about if it's gonna fit me because she's big, right? Or bigger than she was apparently. I'm like, they're stretchy, and she agreed. But then when I actually had to put them on after I changed her diaper and then put her pants up, it wouldn't go up. I'm like, oh, okay, we're gonna have to get new pants. So I had to sit her back down and then go find other pants. But that's fine, you know? Of course, it takes more time, but I'm learning. And I was alone to learn to figure it out on my own. And she was there with me, helping me. We're working together. She meaning the patient. She wasn't getting angry because I was working with her. So that is the way to do it. I just need to do it faster and, but not make it seem like I'm rushing because the patients see that, then they get very angry. So I've learned a lot. No one cares if I learned a lot. No one cares about anything. Everyone just said stuff. But yeah, that would be very terrible to be in a situation like that. So it helps me to, you know, take care of myself, or at least attempt to not get myself in that situation. It's terrible. Being in it, it's as terrible as I ever thought it would be, you know? Especially knowing that a lot of the people working there don't give a shit. They're just so frustrated. The pay grade is not high enough to support that, you know? It's not something to be doing for the money. It really isn't. So I gotta keep that in mind. All right. I'm not finished. Oh, I'm gonna try this last page here. At least attempt that and then finish getting ready to go to the gym. Drink some more pre-workout. My stomach is kind of iffy. I've been, maybe because of all the salad and all the fibrous things I had yesterday, it's coming through me, but I'll still go. You know.